ain't no kidding. I'd be happy with a check and go home.
Heck yeah.
Shoot, yeah. I think if you can get a check at every one of them, you'd be right. You're
We
gonna be
live.
up there at AOY.
All right, here we go, fellas.
We're a few minutes early. You guys can BS. We're just going to let this thing run.
Yeah.
And then at 30, we'll pick it up. I'll let you know as the viewers start kicking in. We're at 0 right now, but it takes a few minutes to update.
Absolutely.
It's so hard to get a check in anything you do.
Yeah.
Every tournament.
Yeah.
Dude, we were talking about the other day, like if you're fishing a 10-boat deal with your buddies or you're fishing a 30, 40-boat, team event, you still got to catch them. Like you don't get to go out and not catch them and not get paid, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the competition is no matter what, you've got to go catch them.
Yeah.
Dude, like those 10, 15, 20 boat derbies are some of the funnest ones to fish, too.
Oh, they're
Like,
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Especially
usually
if
those
you
are
win
the
by
ones.
12 pounds.
Yeah, and to get paid in those, you got to win.
Yeah,
usually.
right? Yeah. And a lot of times with those tournaments, it's more about the bragging rights than anything because you're
Oh, yeah.
fishing against your buddies when it's a 15, 20 boat derby.
Yeah, and you always have to borrow their bag to weigh in. Like
Yeah,
yours
yeah,
at home.
yeah.
Yep. Every time. I don't even have a bag in my boat right now.
All right, guys, welcome to Stop 2, Episode 2 of the National Pro Fishing League Roundtable. We're at Naaman's Barbecue in Arkansas, Texarkana, Arkansas, right? Some of the hands-down best food I've ever had. This is a stop if you're driving through kind of place. We're excited. Young Guns edition.
Ooh, yeah.
A roundtable with the National Pro Fishing League. You guys may have seen it on the screen today. You may have seen it on the website. Presented by Progressive Insurance. Your host, Mr. Fat Cat Newton. To your right on the screen, second place finisher at Lake Eufaula in the inaugural event, Mr. David Gaston. And to your screen left, Mr. the fishing name of all fishing names, River Lee. Let's do this.
All right, folks, what's shaking? Fat Cat Newton coming at you live from Naaman's Championship Barbecue here in Texarkana, Arkansas. Like my man Brad said, man, talking some of the young guns of the NPFL and kick it off to old David Gaston. Had an awesome tournament at Eufaula, man. Before we get into it, just so you guys know, we're just going to, like we said earlier, we're going to talk about, get these folks at home to know you. So talk about whatever you want to talk about as long as I approve it, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, brother. So, dude, second place, bro. Let's talk about, like, Eufaula and how everything, like, it's just, I mean, after day one, did you think you were going to end up in second?
No, not after day one. I mean, I had 14 pounds the first day, and I thought, there's just no way. I thought I was going to be like in 30th. First day on Eufaula, surely, because the water was stable at the time, but it was still falling. And when I was in 7th, I was kind of shocked at that. And then the second day, I went back to my area. I knew the water was falling. It probably wouldn't be not near as good as what it was. And I had like 3 fish at like 11 o'clock. Now, if I'd have caught 5, I'd have had 9 pounds. And so I just said, whatever. So I went and made a little difference and looked on the map and saw some contour lines that was a little steeper and some creeks. And said, well, if there's fish on bed there, then the water end dropping didn't really affect them that much. It didn't suck 10 foot away from the bank. So I went in there and caught 19 pounds in one pocket.
What'd you catch them off of?
Swimming a jig.
Swimming a jig.
Swimming a jig. Well, I did catch, one on a frog, a 6-pounder on a frog the second day, like 10 minutes after live went off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know. And then I lost a 4-pounder, so it kind of hurt.
What? So you had a camera in the boat?
I did.
How was that? Was that the first time having a camera in the boat?
It was.
What was that experience like?
Man, it was good. My cameraman was a good guy, but I was culling, and one time he almost stepped out of the boat completely walking.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, it was pretty. He was a nice guy. Both my camera guys, they were cool dudes, and we had a good time. But, they said when they got in the boat, it was like, hey, act like we're not here and just, act like we're stupid all day and not talk to us. I got pretty lonely, to be honest with you.
Did you really?
Yeah, they don't talk. I mean, you turn around and ask them questions. They won't even nod their head or nothing. They're just filming.
Do you feel like you got second, so you fished well, but do you feel like you fished different having a camera in the boat?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit. Like, how did you fish different?
You got to say, hey, man, I need a break if you could pee.
Yeah.
You couldn't just pee and fish.
Right.
Like everybody does. I mean, you couldn't really just relax. You had to stay on the edge and fish the whole time and fish harder and have, like, little scheduled pee breaks.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to bite to eat or something like these, like, hey, man, we're going to take a 2-minute break. And, when you're fish tournament, you don't take no 2-minute breaks. You just keep fishing, doing what you do. And so you had a little bit of interference time. But when you was fishing, you was fishing. I mean, there was no, piddling around with something, picking up, looking at this. I mean, it was straight fishing the whole entire time.
Did you have to yell, "Get out of my way! I'm coming to the back of the boat"? And make Bobby move or anything? Or you?
Nah, man, he was good. He stayed in the back, and I swung every one of them.
Sweet, dude. You going to have a camera in the boat this tournament, you think? After 2 days of practice, how you feeling?
After 2 days of practice here, if I can go out there and catch 15 pounds 3 days in a row, I'd be tickled to death. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not – I mean, it's a great lake. It is a great fishery. I mean, I can see where it's amazing. But with the water dropping like it is and, you know, a lot of fish are postponed and everything going on with it and so much pressure it's on this lake, it's not a big place. And there's 110 guys beating it up for 3 days, guys setting the hook, guys shaking them off. It don't matter. You know, there's a lot of pressure. Then you'll be fishing behind folks. So it's not going to take exactly what everybody's saying it's going to take to win, my prediction-wise, after what I've seen. So, I mean, if I get 15 pounds a day,
what's your
I'd be
prediction
happy.
on winning?
I say if you got 58 to 59, you'll win.
River, what do you think?
I was thinking like 18 or 19 a day probably be right up there.
That's it.
I agree with him. I think
So
the
under 60.
Yeah,
Because it seems like 60 is that over-under mark there, but that's that. So you're right under 60
Yeah,
pounds.
because like you said, we got 6 days in a row that we're going to have 110 guys on the water. I mean, it's going to take
on
the pressure.
a body of water that seems, as of right now, is fishing small.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's what is it? It's 28,000, but it can almost be like Yoda said last night, up to 38,000 if you make that run.
Oh, up the river's crazy.
Right.
You'll get lost.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the map don't do you no good because I was like, oh, there's a little pig trail. I cut through it. Go there, bushes. I mean, that's all it is, just bushes everywhere.
There, depending upon what kind of chip you have. Some graphs are being more detailed than others. You guys notice that? Heard anything about that?
I ain't heard nothing about it.
I got 2 different apps on my phone, like Navionics, and I got my Garmin app. And, yeah, like part of the Navionics app, there's nothing. And then Garmin's almost the same way. There's a little bit more, but, yeah, they didn't take much time to idle this lake.
Yeah. All right, let's talk to River Lee about his 15th. Man, you finished 15th at Eufaula.
Yes, sir.
Inaugural event. What was that like, man? 20-year-old coming in, man, fishing his first professional event.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Cracking 15, getting a good check. What was that feeling like?
Man, it was good. I wish I could have day 1 over again. I got spun out a little bit with myself. I was trying to do too many things at once.
Elaborate. What were you doing too much at once? Like, what was happening?
Man, I was trying to fish too fast. I think I should have just slowed down and picked things apart. And I should have stick to one thing, that, especially what I'm good at. And come day 2 and 3, I sight fish the rest of the time, which I love to do. And I just ran with it from there.
Do you think anybody will be him here at Wright Patman?
No, sir. It's pretty muddy. It's not muddy to the point where it's just awful.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because honestly, you can see one on bed to get to all the bushes. You
That
can't
too.
get to the bank to
That
look
too.
at them.
Well, I mean, even if you could, though, I don't think you couldn't see them, though. This water's just dirty.
I mean, you just have to see them chase bait or swirl. That'd be the only one.
Let's tell the folks at home what we're dealing with on Wright Patman, as far as the bushes and the water up in the bushes. Like what you see today and yesterday pre-fishing. And you're from around here, so you're familiar with Wright Patman.
I'm not as familiar as Yoder is, but I've been here a few times.
Okay, well, talk to us about how that water's up in the bushes and how things can play out.
Yeah, like so you'll be just flipping the bushes, and like you said earlier, you'll be in 3 foot of water, but the water's 80 foot back behind the bushes, and so those fish they can be anywhere back there, and then you can go down one stretch, and the bank's right there. So, and I'm getting bit on both places, so I don't really know which one they like over the other. So
if you could set a water level right now, say, hey, when we start on Thursday, this is the water level, and you get to pick it, what's it going to be?
I say around 327.
227?
327.
You want to go up another 100 foot?
Oh, is it? Yeah, 227. I'm sorry.
You're on some
Yeah,
wild stuff.
no.
We're
227.
We're here to support you, right? Yeah. So, yeah, man. Okay, good deal.
Yeah, that's what I would.
So
go
ahead.
ahead. I was
Like,
going to
why?
ask if it goes. Yeah, but go ahead because I was going to ask. If it goes to 227, are our guys going to be able to navigate what they're navigating now safely? Because from what I understand, like when that water level gets down 227, sub 227, it can get a little sketchy out there because Wright Patman, the channel's not marked very well. Like it's and the water's stained, so you're not going to know it's there until you hit it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to follow what I just normally run, follow my tracks. I mean, I've idled out of some places to make sure there ain't no stumps and just trim her up and run.
So if that water hits 227, what's the pattern? You're going to be fishing. That water's going to recede. It's going to pull those fish out the back closer to the edge?
Yeah, just more. It's just going to pull all those fish that were back there behind the bushes, just going to start pushing them out to the edge. That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of 7-6 flipping, flipping sticks in people's hands, 20-pound fluorocarbon. That's what's going to go on. Everybody's going to be flipping. There's going to be some guys swimming a jig, throwing a spinnerbait, popping a frog.
Man, oh, man.
It's all that.
Dude, we've got – so Mike Yoder's commenting in the live stream.
He's already
He's
started
probably
running
talking
lips.
crap about me.
He's
He didn't get enough FaceTime last night.
Yeah, he's got to be
Golly.
chirping anyway. Sorry, man. Like, I'm not going to –
You're good.
Yeah, check.
What? Give us something. What's he talking
No,
about?
he said at 227, if you're careful, you'll be fine. Like, I think –
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't see it, it ain't there. Run
Right,
it.
yeah.
That's what I
Full
did.
send,
I've been
right?
going anyway.
Chip, that
And
kind
I
of
don't
thing.
go fast anyway. I just fiddle fart around and look.
Well, you're
You
in a
know?
Ranger, right? So
Yeah, well, you're right.
I got a
I mean,
cat. I gotta go fast.
Man, see, even if I had a fast boat, I still wouldn't go fast. I mean, you fall only burn 8 gallons of gas in 3
Listen,
days of a tournament.
Hey, I just because, and I hate to jump, but I know you follow really well. I was stationed in the military down there for like 10 years. Were you shocked? So I came and got your camera guy on the last day, right? Like, production crew's busy. They're like, someone's got to go get David. I was like, hey, man, I know exactly where he is. I'll go get him. I was shocked. Were you shocked that there weren't more people around you in that area?
I was, but there was still a good amount of boats, though.
But they weren't tournament anglers.
No,
that
were,
I saw.
The crappie fishermen. Now, there was some guys first thing that morning. There was like 3 different club tournaments going on.
Rip to the 2 that we knocked out of the boat coming out of the cut. But go ahead. Yeah. I was shocked when I had a couple high school kids with me that just wanted to get on the water, and I was like, man, I can't believe that he's had all this to himself for all these days, because that's a pretty notorious area for.
And I fished one pocket, and then I fished another pocket. Half of a pocket really, and figured I was like, well, it's about time to go in. I think I got enough to do okay. And so I went back. And then the next day, it was kind of like I practiced every day is what it basically seemed like. I just practiced every day, went to new areas and found new fish every day, because you couldn't go back and catch the fish you caught. Because those fish were pulled up. They were doing their thing. You could catch them off the bed. And I was catching them majority off the bed.
Good question here, man. So are you guys weather watchers, right? Like, I know B is. B's like, hey, Friday, 10, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So Jay McCoskey just said, hey, man, there's some predicted maybe some nasty weather on Friday with some rain and stuff.
We're dealing with a high wind tomorrow. You got a good wind tomorrow. Like, it's going to – I don't – if wind is going to affect anyone's bite. But, like, yeah, cold nights. We're looking at 39 degrees, tomorrow night? And then it's going to start going upwards. But do you think, like Jay said, what's that –
rely on a little bit in the morning.
That's the first SP, I guess SS word we've heard.
Yeah, and with the rain, I don't know. It's been saying it's going to rain. Like last week when I was at another lake, it said it was going to rain the whole week, and it never did. So I don't know. We'll see if it really rains or not. So,
we
weatherman.
talked to old Dalton. There's one thing unique about Wright Patman, talking to old our Dalton Green Jeans. Different authorities when it comes to governing.
Right. So he is the core manager for Wright Patman. He is the guy on Wright Patman, Dalton, that manages. So he is the Corps of Engineers representative, and he manages Wright Patman.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, he was giving us some information about different things. He was talking about. He said one thing, talking about 75 pounds.
Yeah, he fishes, dude. He's like, look, man, I know what's going on. I know what's. He's like.
Yeah.
I was there, so yeah.
One thing he said that was interesting to me was that if we do get rain here, Wright Patman, Texarkana area, say if we got a bunch of rain, it really wouldn't affect Wright Patman. But if we get rain north of Wright Patman and it comes down into us, that could really jack us up.
Wright Patman, it comes up quick. Like if it rains a good amount, especially up north, it will come up quick. So I don't have a lot of experiences like Jake and Yoder do, but I know it will come up quick.
I mean, this place, it fluctuates like crazy. When I was here, it was super high. Now it's, going back down low.
Right, because right after you follow, it was swollen.
Yeah, and I come up here.
Did you have any luck when you came back then?
Captured a few fish.
Captured
a few fish. But, I mean, it was, it was okay. I mean, I just rode around and looked, really get a feel for the place, because it's hard to come. Spring fish are spawning never good. everybody knows that falling water is never good.
Right. We had the
no matter
conversation.
what.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're a
So,
firm believer of that.
I know that for a fact. If the fish are spawning and the water's falling, they don't bite good.
Right.
The 75 pounds, that's unreal. I mean, 3-day tournament, 75 pounds, that's impressive. But,
especially with all of us, most of us are going to be in one area.
There we go.
Or 2 areas. It's going to be hard to catch 75 pounds in 3 days to be that consistent.
Unless you cast at somebody else's live well all day.
Yeah.
Wait to open their lid and get cold.
Somebody easily is going to catch 25 pounds. You think?
I think
I don't know
not
about
3
easily.
days in a row.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Somebody's going to catch. I think somebody's going to catch, low to mid 20s, but they won't do it 3 days in a row.
I said
So
23 pounds is going to be the
So big bag
lead.
of the tournament.
Yeah,
big bag. Yeah.
I was going to say crack 30, but are we going to see? Go ahead, big bag of the tournament.
What are you saying?
23 and a half.
I'm going to say 25 just because it's the first day. Somebody's going to bang them, but it's going to go down
All right.
from there.
And the
I
second
think.
ago, we were talking about 7-6 big sticks, yada yada yada. I've talked to some dudes that got them wands. Do the guys do well offshore here?
Man, my experience here, and I've fished some tournaments with Michael in the summertime. Man, they don't really get offshore until that summer. They like to be here. They like to be around the bushes at some point. I don't even got a ferry wand in my boat right now. So, I like to fish offshore.
Come on, man.
I don't like fishing offshore.
Yeah, don't like it.
I like catching them in the dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fun. Snatching a pound and a half and it goes flying past you on braid. Who don't like that?
Yeah.
I mean,
You put chips in the tail coat and everything.
yeah, everything,
So,
But I don't say catch them on a ferry one here if you're anywhere close to 12-pound leader, but still, you're going to have to – it's just so stressful.
What do you guys think about? So you guys, obviously, we watch fishing. We do it. This was a little bit different, man. Like I got that feeling of seeing what I've seen, on some stuff. Like it's going to be fun to watch, right? Like it's going to be what's different in your opinion. Being what can you tell the bass fans out there about why should anybody watch the NPFL and Wright Patman? Like what are they going to see?
I mean, it's a lake that nobody's ever had a big tournament at to be on live. And plus, you're going to see a lot of big fish hanging from some bushes that guys can't get to, and they lose and pitch a fit. So that's one good reason. There's going to be a lot of fish lost that's just hanging from a bush and you can't come get, no matter what. I mean, it's just.
Elaborate on some of the people at home that aren't, like a lot of us weren't familiar with Wright Patman, how those bushes set up. It's like a
cutover.
We got guys that are pulling up in those bushes trying to flip over and get crazy. So when they do hook that 6 or 7, like you're saying, it's up in the jungle.
yeah, what's the rule on that? If we do hook one, we got to go in. Job from fair out. Okay. All right. Might have to do that.
If I can't skip my, jig all the way or frog all the way back in there to get him, I ain't going to get him out. He ain't going to bite me because I ain't going to risk climbing over some bushes and getting a deer stand to catch a fish and then get back in my boat.
So
I mean, it's
skipping that frog. That's going to be is that what we're doing, David? Are we frogging it up out there or what?
I've had some nibbles on the frog,
Oh, yeah.
but then again,
Let's talk about when you're fishing a frog. We're pre-fishing. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot is, do you stick them when you're pre-fishing, or do you just fishing no hooks? So with your frog, what are you doing? Are you cutting the hooks off your frog? Probably not.
No. But,
okay, all right.
I mean, even if you cut the hooks off and stuff on a frog, most of the time you can hold your rod up and walk him around like this and get personal with him and he'll spit it.
Okay.
Most of the time, just keep a little pressure on him. But some you think, I ain't got no hooks. I still ain't going to get hung here. Man, I cut the hooks off everything I had today, and I still got hung.
It'll get
you have to
wrapped
go
around
get it.
bushes. Or,
You'll skip a frog, and, like a Cinco does on the dock, you'll hit the water, boom, go 30 foot up in there and get tangled up in the raft.
I did cover my hooks on my frog. I didn't cut them because I wasn't going to waste a frog, but I did cover the hooks just make myself feel better a little bit. But
So, in the theory, I want to get into that a little bit about this because we're talking about Wright Patman fishing small. We're talking about being able to sit in the middle of the lake and see a bunch of the boats, right?
Oh, yeah.
This could be that situation.
definitely.
How the guys that are out there, let's say they're sticking them, can that have an adverse effect? Because we talked about having 105 guys, 110 guys for 6 days. How do you feel about guys sticking them versus not sticking them? Do you care, don't care? Like, what's your take on sticking them pre-fishing?
It affects them for
Yes,
sure.
definitely.
If you catch a big one and you gash a big old hole in her head because you say she ain't gonna bite again, she could bite again, but more chances are no.
Right.
You know, and I think majority of these fish that are biting everybody right now are on bed, and they don't realize it. I mean, you know, them guys having buzzbait bites, frog bites, swim jig bites, spinnerbait, them fish are on bed. You know, unless, you know, Pacific fish, but majority is on bed coming up eating.
Yep.
So that
Yeah, when you have 100 guys making a big circle around this big area we're fishing and everybody's sticking them, it's not a good effect on the fish. I mean, yeah.
Just simply because they're getting pounded on, right?
that and the rain, I hate fishing in the rain. It
Yeah.
ruins everything. You know, you got to let your boxes dry out because your baits get soggy. And it's miserable. Then your back hurts because yeah, I'm telling you, don't like it either. You won't go fishing in a rainstorm if you ain't got to.
I hate being in rain gear, man. I get
it hurts
angry.
my back and
Yeah.
aggravating.
Well, especially
Angry.
when it's raining, it's like 75 degrees outside, so you got the rain gear on to stay wet, but
Yeah.
you're sweating and you're nasty. It's just
Yeah.
uncomfortable the whole
And then
time.
it starts lightning, and then you always, you're like, it ain't going to hit me. And then
Nope.
you get to thinking about the stories about, you know, people getting
Your
hit.
line starts floating a little
Yeah.
bit, and your hair starts standing up on your arms. You know, it's
Yeah.
that little static.
And you can't stop fishing because you look like a sissy. And there's no docks to get on Wright Patman. That's what people don't understand. This is just a wilderness out there.
Yeah, like-
there's no docks. There's nothing like that. It's just nothing but bush. I've been driving through them, so I don't know.
Right, yeah. We drove
Send it.
around today and yesterday. I drove around yesterday, didn't see a whole lot of stuff sticking up. And
Yeah.
there is some standing timber, but it seems to be obvious, and you know where it's
Yeah.
at.
But as far as just, you know, structure to fish here, I mean, you got the dam, obviously. This is, you know, earth dam. It's riprap all the way down. You know, they got a bridge on the upper end and a handful of boat ramps. And besides that, you know, you have a just completely natural place. I mean, it's just the water's up high. I mean, I don't know if it's normal. Pool right now, I believe it would take the weight to win. You know, I would think it would take 65 pounds to win for sure.
being stable.
Yeah, and being stable, too. You'd have more guys looking at them. You'd have fish staying shallower longer. And you really just don't know what the deal is on the fish.
So there's been some interesting discussion about that, and you've got some experience here, man. But 226.5 is normal pull, and people at home can't see. I'm air quoting.
Yeah.
But talking to Dalton, he's like, you'll never see that this time of year. Like more 227-ish is stable water. But relatively speaking, like we talked about it on Patman, Dave, and you got a lot of experience there. The water moving an inch or two makes a big deal on Eufaula.
Huge deal.
And here, these fish, this is a flood control lake. It's only got 4 gates on it. There's all this thing is wide open. They can move 3 to 4 inches a day off this lake. So
That's amazing.
so-
That's a lot of
That's
water.
a lot of water.
So
These
these
are the
fish,
big old watersheds all this place is.
these fish live in this environment.
Yeah, but still, it has to affect fish spawning. You
Absolutely.
know, falling water, it does, no matter what. And, you know, like on, you know, Eufaula, if it drops 2 inches, that is a dramatic amount. You know, back home on the coast, you know, if you got a good grass bite going on and you look and the water's an inch and a half lower, they're not pulling current, you don't catch them good.
Interesting. So we're talking a lot about this, and and I don't want you guys to give up anything, but experience, no experience here. This is an interesting contrast. Have the 6 feet.
Yeah.
You're bringing hundreds of acres of water off the lake, but yet the last 2 days, dudes are cracking them. Like they're catching them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it a normal, like do the fish just, they live in this environment, they still have to eat, they're obviously healthy. I've seen pictures of bigs,
Yeah,
big heads, right?
This place has got them, and they're healthy too.
Right.
Full of shad.
So they've adapted to this environment, right?
you know, but-
Absolutely.
If the water was up 20 foot and the fish were spawning up there, I mean, he was way up in the trees, you know, 30 foot up on the bank where
Literally.
his bed was at. So,
Right.
you know, that's got to affect them some kind of
Sure,
way. And, you
absolutely.
know, and I don't see how, if it does do this every year, they got to just have somewhere stable to spawn. I mean, no, even if it's, you know, 3 foot they're spawning at and it drops down to 1 foot and they still got a foot of water on them, they still have to have something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they can't spawn, you know, as soon as the water comes up 20 foot, and, you know, for 3 days and it goes back down. Fish can't spawn that quick, eggs die. So
Yeah, no.
then you have a bad
I
fishery.
agree
so.
with him. So, yeah.
So we got straight into I'm just listening because I'm taking all this in. It's crazy the contrast between different opinions of what's going to win, where's going to fish. Because I talked to you guys are on the same page, talked to two fellas at the ramp, completely different page. So it's funny to see the diverse opinions and whatnot, what it's going to take to win this thing.
Well, they called them today, so they fired up. They think they're going to finish at Thursday.
Exactly.
Yeah, they set the hook.
Yeah.
You can't win the tournament pre-fishing, right?
No, you can't.
And we got a lot of guys that get spun out when they don't catch them pre-fishing. And I think that's what we're dealing with now. We've talked to some guys that are just like, man, when they hear of all the other guys whacking them and they're not catching them, they're like, and they see this dude catching them, and they try to go replicate how he saw him catch them, and they can't because we talked about these bushes. You'll have a whole entire shoreline, a long shoreline full of bushes.
Crazy question.
Yeah.
Right? Scott Christie.
Okay.
One of my boys.
What's up, Scott?
Right? How important is boat draw in this tournament? So I will tell both of you. I know everybody's
great
boat number.
question.
I generated boat numbers today. You guys don't find out till Wednesday. I know who's who in the zoo.
Be pretty important because, like we talked about earlier, a lot of us going to be in the same area, and if you get an earlier number and you can get to one of your stretches first before it gets pounded on, that's going to help a lot.
I'd like to have a late number. I think that'd be the best because you need as much time as you can to fish. I mean,
we got two different opinions about it.
You need as much time as you can to fish here because it's going to take all day to do it.
Yep.
I mean, you can't cover nothing here in a timely manner. You can't put the trolling motor down and just go down the bank and fish and cover water. It just don't have. There's so many targets and
it's going to be crazy
stuff.
for people to watch. And a guy told me this the other day, right? He's like, Brad, you could pull up to a set of bushes or an area or a little spot, put your poles down, and flip for 5 to 10 minutes and not cover every nook and cranny where there could be a fish.
Oh, yeah. Fish eat it halfway about it at the boat, and you're like, dadgummit. You're like, well, what'd I do wrong there?
Right.
And so it's just, it's interesting to see.
To go back about having that long shoreline of these bushes, which seems to be the pattern, right? Bushes is the pattern.
I mean, what else you gonna fish?
Right.
I mean, you gonna fish bushes that are laying down or bushes
What are you
sticking
looking
up?
for in that 700-yard stretch of bushes? Like what stands out to you? So like when you run to your first spot Thursday morning, is there something in those bushes that you're keying in on? Is it under the water? Is it the bush itself? Like what are those fish relating to exactly? Because all the bushes are the same in the entire, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking for a gap where I can get whatever I'm throwing the farthest back there possible. Make the longest gap, the longest skip I possibly can.
So you're looking for water behind bushes when some guys are just looking for bushes on the edge of the water.
Yeah, because all the bushes on the edge of the water is going to be, I feel like I can get my baits farther back than what some people can.
Okay.
I feel like I can. I feel like I can go behind guys. Good ones, good skills, impressive perhaps. But really, I mean, I feel like.
Yeah.
They got the string picking it up and dropping it like that.
Yeah.
So.
How about you? Well, on that stretch, is there anything in particular you're looking for in those bushes? Do you want that flooded bush?
That helps. And then I got a few other things in particular.
Let's hear it.
I'd like to keep. I like to keep myself till after the tournament.
But you kind of answers my question that there are things that you are looking.
for. Okay. Yes, sir.
And I want to get into this before we run out of time with you guys. I want some background on you. So I want these people at home to get to know David Gaston. Give them a little background on what you fished and what you do for a living. Just let them know who David is.
Man, I fished my whole life. We grew up fishing, and that's all we did. We started out. We had a high school.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Sylacauga, Alabama.
Okay.
That's
never heard of it.
It's close to Talladega. I'm sure you heard
nice,
that.
Talladega.
I ain't never been to a race my entire life, but I live in Talladega County. But, I fished. I fished the BFLs. When I was like 18, I was still in high school. I won like Angler of the Year in the BFLs Bama division on the boater. And so that was a pretty cool little turnout.
Yeah.
And then I fished Opens a few years. I fished some Toyotas or whatever Costas at the time, but Toyotas now. And I fished. I really like it. I mean, it's great. People are fun. We go to cool lakes like this right here.
Right.
I mean, doing stuff like this. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah. And so with you fishing the tour compared to NPFL, like, is it that transition easy? Like, are so far so good with how things are run at NPFL compared to that other?
I do like it. Blast off is blast off no matter what tournament you fish.
True story.
Blast off is blast off. I mean, it's all pretty much done the exact same way. You got sprayer, national anthem, boat numbers go.
Yep.
Go fishing the same way. The trailered weigh-in, that's a pretty neat deal. I do like that.
How about all 3 days of
all 3
full
days?
field? How do you feel about that?
If there was a cut, that would be nice because I feel like, if somebody's going to get in a position where there'll be somebody who's 110th out of 110 boats. Then you go to fish,
What about
and you're in the lead, and he can't catch them. So
day 3, and you've been sucking it up. You go out there and crack a 9-pounder. You have a good day 3, and you move up those spots into that 36 cut line.
Place like this, there ain't no way. If you're in 110th and you ain't, on the third day, if you ain't close to the ballpark, then you ain't gonna make it.
All right.
Well,
but
we got something different in this league that other guys don't do. So a big bite challenge, right?
Yeah, no, there is that. Yes,
That's
you're right.
true.
You can have some big fish.
Right now, 5 G's is what it takes to win the big bite challenge,
That's
big bass of the
interesting, by the
tournament.
way.
Yeah,
Right.
good point.
So,
Yep.
hey, man, that's something to fish for, right? Like, yeah, man,
is.
I'm not going to probably climb into a check range, but
Well, let's talk about it, because last tournament,
yes.
second place big bass won because first place big bass
Yeah.
Y'all need to tighten up,
Catch
Bobby.
one of them big belly Kellys.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
River, give us some background, brother. 20 years old, man. What have you done?
Well, I grew up crappie fishing with my mom and dad, and then my dad took me on.
Crappie is crappie fishing.
Oh, well, then my dad took me on a guided
Where you
trip
from?
on Rayburn. I'm from Nacogdoches, Texas.
Okay.
And what was funny, my dad took me on a guided trip with one of the guys that's on NPFL, first guy, Daryl Lyons. Went with him as when I was young, and I've been hooked bass fishing ever since. I fished all of high school stuff, had a great high school career. It actually paid for most of my college. I'm still in college. I got 1 year left, and this is my second year fishing the Toyota Series. I'm sitting 8th in the points right now. One good tournament away to maybe even fishing both tours next year, possibly. And I'm ate up with fishing. This is what I want to do. I'm getting a marketing degree at SFA, and that's just it. I just want to fish.
Good for you, man. What, being as you come up through the high school fishing ranks and the college fishing ranks, any advice you would give to the younger anglers out there that want to get into high school angling? And, like, what kind of advice would you give? Any direction?
Man, if you want to do it, do it. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. I'd pursue a business or a marketing degree. It will help you for sponsor-related stuff, and just fish as much as you can. Like, I know the college stuff does not types of conditions and stuff like that. That's the biggest thing. So that way when you're trying to move up to make it to the next step, you got the most experience you can have, and it will help you a lot. It will go a long ways.
Yeah, especially these days in the fishing
Yeah.
game. It's all about that marketability.
And I went the opposite route he did. I didn't go to college. Well, I did for I think I went to orientations, about 30 minutes for the birds. I mean, hats off to you for really fishing the college stuff, but I didn't. I mean, the college wasn't for me. I didn't fish, the college stuff. It wasn't kind of. And I still got, fishing professionally, and the college deal is a great program to set up too, but you can become just as good as angler fishing the opens and going straight. I went to the school of bass fishing. That's what I went to. That was my college.
Right on.
And I've not graduated with honors yet, by the way.
So
Still
real quick,
working on it.
support networks, like how important.
Toyota Series.
As Luke was saying,
It'd be
Rip FFW, Big Five,
Yeah.
Toyota Series. You're out here doing the support network. Talk about it.
Man, I got a lovely wife. She's all into this fishing stuff. We got our first kid that's going to be here in August, or it might
Congrats,
even
man.
happen at Pickwick. When we're at Pickwick, so it might, that's a good reason to skip a tournament too, though.
Oh, amen, bro. Yeah.
If you
so-
need someone to deliver the baby, I would be more than happy.
You
to
and
help.
Paul Benson.
I appreciate that, really.
I'll clip the cord for you.
Oh, that's my job right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I get to clip the cord, but so I guess I'm postponed then if she's pregnant. I like all these buck bass out here.
But yeah, my support group, man, my mom loves to support me. She supported me from day one. She's the one that's pushed me to go to college, get my degree, and she's my biggest supporter. My girlfriend loves, she traveled with me. She's ate up with the fishing as well. We're both trying to finish college also, and I mean, without her, I couldn't do it. Like, she's my biggest supporter.
That's awesome. All right. Championship? Would you rather win the championship or the AOI?
What's the payout for the AOI? What's
Boss
the
man,
deal?
let's see. I don't know.
I think it's 10. I think as of right now, I think it's 10 grand. But he's
10
working.
grand.
I know he's working on trying to get
So
it more.
for you, it's about what pays. It's not about the hardware. Because you got
Yeah.
some guys that just want the hardware, and some guys. So it basically boils down to what pays more.
Man, it's
Real-
hard. It's hard to somebody take a payment on some hardware.
True. It's hard to pay that
It
mortgage
is.
with a trophy.
And it's hard to buy tackle with a trophy.
True story.
It really is.
What's payout for AOI, boss?
10 G's.
10 G's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather win all the tournaments and then get angry with the year.
and that's the one thing, sitting here from the business side of it, that is the one thing for the ownership group that we are desperate to, because I feel like for me being an angler and chasing the stuff that you guys are doing now is if you win AOI, it needs to be at least equal to double what a tournament win is.
I agree.
Right?
And, it's really hard to spend as much money as we do on top of the entry fee. And then the hotel, average guys here, the hotel's expensive than food, than gas. You got probably, $5,000 entry fee. You got $7,000 tied up in expenses. And you're coming out here and you're fishing. I mean, it's you have to win money. You have to get checks. You have to fish.
But how did your mindset change? Does that change your role? Does it change anything for you the rest of the year?
No, man, you still got to fish for checks. You can't go swing for the fence every time. You got to go swing for checks every time. And then every once in a while you get the opportunity to have the chance to win. Yeah. But you always got to fish for fish to get paid. You can't just go say, oh, I had 10 bites right here, and then I had 2 bites over there, but they were all 5-pounders. I'm gonna go catch some 5-pounders, and you're chasing fairy tales all day and unicorns. So it's not worth it. It's like I fished a tour for 2 years and realized my dad helped me pay for the entry fee. Big hats off to him. I love my daddy, love my mom and daddy, both of them. And so. He would have me say, hey, man, we got to get a check. You got to get a check, got to get a check. And so that got in my mind I don't care about the fence no more. I got to get a check.
Right.
And so that's what it really boils down to. You get resume happens of how many checks you got. And you get more top finishes if you get checks. I mean, that's obvious. So,
how about you, brother? Championship or AOI?
Depending on where the championship, but where it would be. But I would rather win the AOI, honestly. Yeah. Unless the championship is on like Rayburn or something like that.
The home lake?
Yeah, my home lake. Yeah, I would like to win the championship.
What have you done on Rayburn? What's?
Man, I've won a few high school stuff out there. I've won a couple local tournaments over there. Nothing crazy big because Rayburn's one of the hardest lakes, I believe, to win on. There's so many guys out there that just do.
Texas is one of those states where you got local boys that just make a living fishing that, like Rayburn and
Toledo. Yeah.
Toledo, yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to win on that lake. But I stay pretty consistent. I haven't won no bass champs or triple T out there, but I've won a couple smaller stuff out there and I've just stayed consistent mainly. So
right on. All right, tomorrow's final day of practice. Are you guys gonna do anything? Are you gonna do anything different tomorrow than you have the past 2 days?
I'm gonna have to because I ain't gonna get a check if I don't. I mean, really. I mean, it's a weird place. I mean, there's no. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, really, it's. I'm gonna have to do something different, find new areas. Try something this, try something of that, because there's just as many people as beating the banks as what's going on. Because that's all everybody doing. We're just in a giant circle, going a circle around the whole lake. That's all everybody's doing. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to figure something inside of something. I mean, that's the only way to do it. And try to catch 13 pounds a day, which will get you paid here.
I should. I'm going to go back in there and try to figure out, because I know there's fish in there, so I'm going to try to figure out how to get more bites in there, because I think I can get away from a few people if I go in there and try to figure something out. But like I said, we're going to be playing merry-go-round around here.
So put up a gill net.
Gill net, yeah, you got to cast that.
Yeah, you okay with that, Brad?
We'll talk.
All right, folks.
We'll talk.
Brad's going to take us out of here.
All right, guys. We want to thank David Gaston, River Lee, for joining us for the first half of the roundtable. Thank you, guys. We're going to step you guys out. David, please don't tear down our set. This is pretty tight quarters.
I got you. We're good.
Rolling out of here. Yeah. And we're missing one of our anglers for the second segment, so I'm going to look in the crowd. I'm just going to find somebody. You good with that? All right, guys, we're getting things situated here. One of our anglers has had an unexpected delay. We'll explain it more here in a second. Stick with us. You're not going to want to miss this next segment. We went to the bullpen, found us an angler. You may recognize him, you may not. But this should be fun. I know B's been looking forward to this.
Yes, sir.
These guys don't mess around. Let me get a few things situated. Jake, cock your chair just a All right, guys. So here we are. Chalk 2, National Pro Fishing League, presented by Progressive Insurance at Wright Patman. To your right, Mr. Jake Scholes, Enigma Pro. And on your left, none other, Sheldon Collins, Oklahoma angler. B, pull the dirt, bro.
In the league call him drip. He got that drip, son. He got that swag. He's a dripping fleek. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but dude's got style. And this dude right here, Sheldon Collins, it's somebody I've been a fan of for a while. I've been following you for years, like literally years.
Yeah.
And when I found out that you were coming with NPFL, I was like, oh, we got Sheldon Collins. So, like I said, give me some more of that, dude. I'm pumped to have both of you. So, Jake, brother, give us some background on you, man. Tell us about where you're from. And like when I met you in Eufaula, you were like, man, I feel good about Eufaula. Went to school right down the road and all that good stuff. Thank you, Bubba.
And then Eufaula was my worst event I've ever had. It happens.
Same here.
Hey,
Yep.
I mean, it happens to us.
And
But,
that whole local stick stuff kind of that having, yeah. So,
home now is a little town in Pennsylvania with 23 people.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, we live in the mountains in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And either we're there hunting, riding, fishing, or we're on the road fishing.
Yeah, man, you're outdoorsman.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
see what
sir.
you're doing out there. So, and what's you fish for school? What school did you fish for? What's your background with fishing in school?
Running boats, stuff like that. And went to University of Alabama, and they had a bass team. And I was like, well, grew up fishing my whole life. It's the only way I've ever made money, so I'm going to do it. And first year was really tough. And I think it was the third year I was Angler of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
So it worked out.
Right on, dude.
You know,
That's awesome.
And when
Appreciate
did you graduate college?
I did not graduate
Okay.
college,
All
but
right.
I left college
Whoopsies.
2 years ago.
Okay. Right on, dude.
Yep.
And so you've been fishing ever since? Like, you fishing for a living since you left school?
Yes.
Right on.
Yep, I did some coastas. I did, like the full series and stuff. And here we are at the NPFL.
Right on, brother. Glad to have you. Sheldon. I mean, a lot of us already know who Sheldon Collins is. Give the folks at home that may not know who Sheldon is a little bit of background on yourself, where you're from and what you fish.
So my name is Sheldon Collins. I've lived in Grove, Oklahoma for about 16 or 17 years now. They're on Grand Lake. I started fishing the coastas and BFLs when I was when I qualified for it. So I was 20 whenever I started fishing the tour, and then fished the cup a couple times, and then now I'm at the NPFL, and I couldn't be happier.
Right on, dude. Definitely glad to have you. Could you be happier about fishing Wright Patman for your second tournament of the NPFL?
No, this place, it's absolutely. I have no experience.
Oh.
The only experience I have is Michael Yoder showing me like kind of where to run so I don't rip my motor off.
Right.
So shout out to Mike Yoder. But flipping bushes, trees. I mean, that's all I'm going to do this week. I ain't going to mess with the offshore deal. But it's a fun place. I've caught a lot of big fish this week, and I've shook off a lot of fish, so
Yeah.
it's going to be fun.
Right on. What, is this your first time here, Jake?
This is I came for pre-fishing a little bit, but I've never even been to Texas until
is that right?
pre-fishing.
All right, so what's your take on Wright Patman? What do you think?
Honestly, I've been having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, when I came for pre-practice, the water was way up, and it was just flood waters. And, at that point, there was a couple days when it was just really tough. And just didn't really get bit. And then started coming together. And it's not like, for me at least, and the guys I'm traveling with and stuff, it's not like a lot of bites, but it's the right bites.
Okay. Fishes like everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, vast majority of the field's going to be fishing bushes, but there's little things inside of that, you know what I mean? Definitely.
Gotcha.
For sure, where you're going to get more bites or better bites,
Right, without giving up your juice, is it more of a presentation thing? Is it a depth thing? Is it below the water or above the water, kind of what you guys are keying in on, if that makes sense?
I would say it's a location thing the most.
To take to win this thing?
To win it?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're going to see some huge bags. You're going to see them, but the guy that catches
what's a huge bag?
Heavy 20, 26, 27 pounds.
All right.
But the guy that catches 27 pounds on day one, if he catches 27 pounds on day two, he's Jesus.
Yeah.
How you feel about that? Yeah.
I agree. If someone could back that up 2 days in a row, that would be incredible.
Why will they not be able to? Elaborate on why will that be so hard? Just for the folks at home that aren't familiar with Wright Patman, why is that going to be such an issue to follow up a fat bag?
I'm going to go with the pressure. This place ain't very big at all. There's a lot of dead water just from what I've seen, and you get in the right 50, 100, 150-yard stretch, you're going to get a lot of bites, but there's also 4 or 5 boats down that same stretch. And I've seen a lot of guys catching fish this week, and they're in the same stretches that I've been catching fish or shaking fish off. So I think the pressure's going to get to them a little bit, but you're still going to see really consistent bags. And I think there's going to be a lot of bags around 20 pounds because, like he said, you're not getting 40, 50 bites a day. You're getting 10, 15, maybe even 20 a day, but they're all 3 3/4 to 6 or 7 pounders. They're all good ones.
And that's the feedback I'm getting from a lot of guys when they're not catching a lot of rats and a bunch of dinks being caught. And also, too, you're talking about you're shaking some off and catching them some. We talked about it with the last two fellas. Like I said, that's been a topic at this tournament. Are you sticking them and flipping them in the boat? Or do you how does that work? With you fishing the years you fished pre-fishing, are you a sticker or are you a little hitchhiker with a no-hook deal?
So what I do is whenever I first approach a lake where I'm flipping shallow wood or whatever, the first bite of the day, no matter. There we go.
Sheldon Collins, he jerks everything.
Yeah.
We started talking pre-gaming, and we got talking about fishing. He was like, I jerk everything. He's like, all right, getting shirts made up tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so, I'll just quit laughing. You're going to make me laugh. So when I pull up to a stretch and I get a few bites, I'll start shaking them off.
Right on. Okay, cool. How about you, Jake? Are you shake them off? You stick them? What's your?
I'm fishing. I didn't cut my hook, but I might as well have. Okay. I'm fishing covered hook, but I sent you a picture of one today, and I couldn't help that thing. It was under the boat on the other side of the boat swimming around.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's like some of them want it, which to me doesn't seem like a bidding bass. That bidding bass just wants to get it off the bed, get it away. Mm-hmm. Like in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. So they're in all 3 stages. Is what? Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. I totally agree with that because. Eggs, some don't have eggs,
So a quick thing on that, we had a comment earlier in the last segment, I'll bring it to you guys, is that part of the evolution bank at the same time, because if the water drops, there's no spawn, right? So you lose a year class. So are these fish conditioned to cycle something to that?
Well, I mean, anywhere you go, you have waves of fish, you know. But here, you're right. There's only so many, you know, and stuff like that. And I don't know, when I was here 3 weeks ago, I caught fish the same way in all 3 stages.
Really?
Or whatever it was.
Yeah. So how is this going to, you know, we talk about, well, this is going to show the angler skills, or this is going to do this. What's this event going to tell us about NPFL anglers? What at the end of this thing, the champ, like not just the champion, but the field. When we put our 10 cameras on it every day that you can watch on TNPFL.com.
I'm going to go with versatility.
Oh,
You're going to see some guys flipping some off-the-wall stuff, or throwing a crankbait around bushes or a spinnerbait around bushes when the guy in front of them by 50 yards is flipping a worm or a creature bait. But there's going to be some guys that change it up and do some off-the-wall stuff and catch really good bags behind guys that just fish that stretch of bushes.
That's what I was about. There's going to be a lot of that going on. There's going to be a lot of guys eating leftovers and probably benefiting from it the way it sounds, because I've heard that story already several times. Stuck one.
And it could be as little as the same exact bait, but maybe a color change. Maybe instead of like watermelon red, just could be straight watermelon, or black and blue, or just straight black, or a different like tungsten size. Maybe a heavier one, maybe a lighter one, or a smaller hook or a heavier hook. It's going to be a good tournament, in my opinion.
It sounds like it's a lot. Yeah. We're just dealing with that reaction because guys are talking about, hey, man, you got to hit them right on the head. Chocolate milk, and then there are areas where it's stained, but it's got a whole lot better clarity. And I'm talking to guys that were saying you can fish that entire shoreline, but you have to be very precise where you throw it, and they're going to smash it. So getting into that, everybody fishing shallow and hitting them on the head. How about the guys that are out there deep? Did you guys in the past 2 days, have you seen any guys out there deep messing around? You shake your head like, what is he doing out there? He's not going to catch him out there. Have you been deep yourself?
Most people that know me know that love that stuff. That's what I started doing in Alabama, you know. But home to me now is St. Lawrence River. If I can find fish deep in current, dude, I'm finding fish deep in current, and I'm going to sit there and work on them all day long.
Right on.
And I spent about 4 days looking for them in pre-practice here, and I'll be shallow.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, I can agree with him. I'm not going out deep. It's middle of April.
Yeah.
I don't want to go fish deep. I'll save that for the next couple tournaments.
Did you see any of our guys out there fishing deep, though, and you were like,
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of them, actually.
Make you wonder what does he want out there? Like, what's he looking at? Does that cross your mind?
Yeah, it does.
Do you go out there and look for yourself? No?
Nope.
I mean, there's an area that's had a boat on it every day I've ever been here. You go over there, there's no reason to be there. So
Really?
Not really. I mean, yeah, there's people fishing out. There's people fishing offshore. There's people trying, you know, there's people looking. I'm sure some people will catch some fish offshore.
Yeah.
Is it going to be one offshore?
No, it won't.
It won't be one offshore.
It will not.
Okay.
Not in my opinion. There's way too much brush up on the bank. Hole where I don't see it when we say offshore. Like, I'm not saying 15, 25 foot deep. Like maybe 8 to 10 is the deepest that I think they'll catch them. But I could be wrong though.
Right on.
That's just my opinion.
What up? Are we going to have? Is it going to be a crazy tournament? Far as we talked about big bags every day. What will it be? Big fish. What will be the big fish for the tournament?
I'll let you answer that one.
You're going to answer it too.
I mean, there's rumors somebody caught an 11 in practice.
Yeah, I know, but
we'll see. I mean,
yeah,
there's going to be 9s caught.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think
you're going to see a lot of 6 6 to
Yep.
8 pounders. A lot. No doubt.
So here's crazy time, right?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So your mentality, so you follow, you get on your stretch, you practice there, you're there. You two may have been in the same pocket on the same stretch. You're going to share that. Bro, that seems like that's out the window here, right? Like you're just going to get on a bank and go to work. Has your mentality changed with regards to what's, the golden rule of this is, you ain't been here in practice.
Hey.
Why are you here?
Oh, it's going to happen here. These will be made.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Because I think what's going to happen is going to be that stretch of shoreline we're talking about, and Bobby's going to be halfway here, and Terrence is going to run in and cut him off under 175 yards when you're already – or things like that. It just seems like – because it's going to fish so small.
But here's my point to that, and there were some comments made earlier. You guys have talked about fishing behind guys. Mm-hmm. Fact, you are going to fish behind guys all week. So if a guy rolls in on you and comes in 200 yards down the bank and starts going the same direction, is it the same deal here as it is like Grand, bro? You don't do that at Grand. Like,
Yeah, no. If
you don't do that at Grand.
yeah,
You're gonna,
it's not going to be a
yeah,
good
I'm
deal,
going to crank up. We're going to go have a. So does it change your mentality? Like, hey, man, I'm trying to stay out of your way, but you got a guy here and a guy here. Like, I'm getting on this bank, and we're all going to merry-go-round it.
Yep.
It changes it, right? It has to.
No, it does. It's going to happen a lot, and if someone gets upset about it, I can't say they're in the wrong, but it's going to happen to everybody, whether you're in first place or 110th place or whatever. Every single person this week is going to get cut off by someone, and it's going to fish so small that you have to have somewhere to stop in and fish.
Right.
Like, you just can't stop on a clay bank and catch a bass on this lake.
So it's weird here because the fish are coming, like if you drew a map of the lake, like the fish are coming to the edge of the brush more so than to areas or, you know what I mean? Like, if that's where they're coming, that's where you got to fish, right? Yep. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's great production value. I think the fans at home watching this, like, there's going to be some things that happen that, you may not be like, hey, man, like, I get it. I know why the guy's here. Mm-hmm. He's jumping in the merry-go-round. Yep. Where a fan at home may see that and be like, well, he can't do. I would.
Dude, not everybody's going to be cool with somebody jumping in the merry-go-round.
No.
The key
there's a boundary
word here
to
is
it.
professional, and I think all of our anglers are professional and are going to be good.
No, I'm just kidding. For it here, from what we've heard, than in any other places. Like, hey, bro, we've been here 3 days. I've never seen you in here. This is where I've lived. You're like, oh, there's Jake who's leading the tournament. That's where it's going to get funky, right? Yeah. Like, my where I'm coming from is the TD and all those other hats I wear is like, hey, man, are guys going to give you some leeway if you're leading this? Do you expect them to give you some
What's the
cushion?
rule on leeway? What's the rule? Like, do you power pull down, you get 25 yards, or it's no rule?
Yeah, it's something like that. Anchored.
Come on, man.
Anchored.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the rules.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I don't have them in my pocket.
Right.
I actually do. They're on my phone. But
no, I just didn't know if you'd off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head. 50 yard. I forget what it is. I don't know. But
yeah, I think a lot of guys are going to get a little tight. I think some guys are. But
if you're leading it, you had 29 pounds day. Knowing that, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just a different deal, man. Like, hey, man, like, you caught 27 pounds in this area. I've been here with you all week. Like, I may have the next 27-pound bag, and you may have the 6 pounds I had yesterday. So I just want to know what you think about that. Both of you guys. Like, you've been doing this a long time, man. Like, you've been a college angler. You know the rules of the road. You know those What are your thoughts on that situation?
In college, we used to fish a lot of boats. There was 280 boat tournaments, stuff like that. And college kids are bad about if they know you can catch fish, they're following you.
Right.
So there was almost every event, you just had to put your blinders on. You hear that all the time, put your blinders on. But there's so many people that they act like they're good at it, and then somebody pulls in on them, and they just spin out, dude, and they can't do nothing. I mean, like Fat Cat said, we're professionals. We're supposed to carry ourselves as professionals, and I mean, I don't know.
Some guys
it
are
ain't
more
gonna bother me
sensitive
too
to
bad.
others. Yeah, some guys are more sensitive than others. But like what Brad said, how do you handle that situation?
And
Or do you,
like,
You're leading it. Sheldon,
Yeah.
you're leading 29 pounds day one. You've been in the same 2 or 3 areas.
yeah.
Guy in 100th place rolls in on you.
When you say roll in on me, if
Yeah.
he pulls in like 15 yards behind me, it don't matter to me. But if he pulls in front of me, like say it's just a pocket, but if it's a main lake bank that I'm just fishing, there's like no little good points or nothing. It's just a
He's not pulling in on the juice.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's not like he's going to the back of the pocket when I'm halfway back, almost to where I've been catching him.
Right.
So I mean, I'd be cool with it. He
Yeah.
don't know that I'm just catching him going down the bank.
Right.
I mean, for all he knows, that's where I'm catching him is where I'm setting.
I'm glad to hear you say that, bro. That shows a lot of maturity and experience level. Is hey, man, every situation is different, right?
Exactly.
And how you handle that situation, like, hey, man, like this is my jam. You know, whatever that is, it's very situational dependent. You guys are some of the younger guys on the tour. We got some. Old school dudes
There we
out
go.
here.
Perfect way to old
Right?
school,
Old
new
school.
school, no doubt about it.
So,
But I think you said it right though. Well, you said it right, and Brad touched on it. It's about how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, if I'm pointing into something that's a juicy little pocket or something, or, you know, I'm working to say a point or whatever it is, and you can visibly tell that I'm working, and you're like the point 10 yards away from me, and somebody pulls.
There's situations you don't know what you're going to do until
yeah.
you're in that
Yeah.
situation. Because we can all sit here, I would just do this and do that.
Yeah.
But when you crack 29 pounds day one and day two, Bobby in 110th pulls up on your juice, it's going to be a situation.
Yeah.
And you can try to be as professional as possible. Hopefully he understands where you're coming from. But $50,000 on the line and a lot more. It's
So, and I think the way we handle this as a league in
It's
terms
a
of director and all
steel
this
cage match.
is
Steel cage
steel
match.
cage match, no holds barred, steel chair, you know. But I will say this, man, is we do have the sportsmanship rule, and every situation is different. I'm glad to hear you say that, Sheldon, because you're like, well, that guy pulled it on me. Well, dude, that was different because of X, Y, and Z. There's multiple factors to every situation. But, dude, this is, I think, for the people watching at home, I'm prepping the field. There's production value here. There's bigs here. There's a lot of potential for this lake. You guys are going to be under stress, which I like to see anglers that are in the production realm be under stress. And it's going to be a great show, man, to watch. And I know Luke and Dudley are both excited. Potential to show out or be pretty tough. Either way, it's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
and where
agree.
can you watch it? Let the folks at home know,
Yeah, so
Brad.
TNPFL.com, right? We're also live streaming it on YouTube all 3 days. So
Which is new for us. So if you guys didn't know,
absolutely. So the big thing there are going to be the rebroadcast deals we do. We'll have those on our website. You can always go to YouTube from the very moment. You can go to YouTube as soon as it's over. Bam, the live stream will be up there for you to go back and watch Jake and Sheldon crack 30-30, right? So
Well, I'm going for 32. So.
I'll take 30 if you do.
All right, deal.
I'll be honest, bro. I don't. Southern shallow water experts here, right? Like they know how to skip, underhand flip skip. Like they can get their bait in places that you may not cover every square inch because of just efficiency. You may not cover it, but that will be covered throughout the day. There is a very good chance we could have a 30-pound bag just because the guy just makes those 5 right flips. He didn't do anything different. He got those bites.
And that
right?
guy could be behind somebody, honestly.
Well, he will
That's
be,
true.
right? Like
Like,
I will bet.
truly.
Yeah, he
so you had a good question earlier for the guys. What's better for you guys? I'll go with you first. On the because in my mind, I'm thinking, man, it seems like it's going to get warmer in the evening, especially like the first day. It's going to be a cold morning. I'm thinking the bite will be later, but like, what? Did you even care what flight you are, like when you go out or anything like that? Like,
I mean, of course, every tournament you want to be late or you want to be early. This
it seems
and that
like at
and
this
everything.
body of water, it's gonna be a bigger factor than most.
But at this here, it's like I'd like to get out quick because there's a couple that I'd like to go work on, a couple areas before anybody's there, because there's going to be somebody in some of them. It's just going to happen.
Yep.
But then again, I would really like to have the afternoon because, like you said, it's cold mornings, and you're going to have that longer time. And I don't know how many you stroked in the afternoon, but
how do you feel?
find some,
Personally, I mean, it's always a good feeling the first day of the first morning of a multi-day event to pull in on your juice and catch about 25, 26 pounds. But at the same time, I really don't think it's going to matter because a guy could roll into a stretch and catch – I mean, it's that time of the year. There's tons of fish pulling up, tons of fish leaving. So I just
how
like
big is? Go ahead, Sheldon.
And like we were saying, how he said someone's going to catch a big bag behind someone. It is physically impossible for someone to go down one bank and hit every single twig that's in the water.
And so especially when guys start spinning out.
Exactly.
They turn their trolling motor up. They
just try to get bites.
And
the need for speed.
Yeah.
Some guys like fishing like. Dude.
Yeah.
I have no problem
So
fishing
real
behind
quick,
somebody.
we got bonus coverage tonight, right? We're going to kick you guys out of here in just a few minutes. Garrett Dunn had some issues. We're going to bring him on. We're going to do a little 1v1, right?
Right on,
but
man.
here's one thing I want to ask both you guys because you guys are to look at that Saturday, right? You earn your long day, and I don't know if people know that about the TNPFL, but we send them out on Saturday in leaderboard order. And when we do that, if you're leading, Sheldon, you check in last. So you get, you're going to get a super long day, like 10 hours of fishing on that day.
Nice.
And we got Friday night, low's going to be like 60.
Right.
Saturday, that long day, if you got 10 hours to work on them,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to work.
juicy, right?
Talking about pressure, and now we're talking about it being warmer on championship day. What's going to? I think it's an obvious answer to this question, but what's a more important, the water condition or pressure on the fish? What's going to be a bigger factor in this tournament? Condition or pressure?
Man, it's going to be a little both, in my opinion.
You got to pick one.
Got to pick one.
Yep. Condition or pressure?
I'm going to say pressure. That's just what I think.
What do you think? Condition
A lot
or
of
pressure?
times I would say condition, but here, this lake's only used to seeing so many boats, I mean, how many fish have already seen baits this week, that don't usually see them? And so I'm going to go with pressure, too.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the pressure answer because I really think, man, it's the folks at home, you guys will see, man, when we go live Thursday morning and you see what's going on out there in the water. We're going to have 10 cameras and 10 boats, and you're going to see that it's a healthy water coverage. And I want to show you. We're going to be able to count, I guarantee you, we'll be able to count 10 or 15 boats at one time, if not more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's going to be crazy because we can have we got 10 cameras, but they may be on 3 anglers apiece.
Yeah.
Literally.
Like this is
Good point.
Like this is going to test the premier flippers, the premier skippers, the guys who have those elite skills with regards to where you can get your bait. Mm-hmm. Like you're not going to go down the bank and flip the fronts of bushes and do anything in this. You may do something, but it's going to be those guys who are special with the rod in their hand.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think that's going to separate the guys.
Yeah.
With your experience on the tour and everything, and then
it can be a pain for the guys that are in the top 10 on the last day. Because you have to think there's going to be some guys that are like, man, I really need to cut a check. I'm not on nothing. I'm just going to go run around, which I don't. this is the National Professional Fishing League, so I don't see guys that are just going to go run around, try to find a camera and do that.
Right.
The guys in this field are a lot better than that, but you just never know. They could be running down a bank and then see a guy and think, oh, well, I'll just go fish a pocket that's similar to what he's fishing, and it might be the pocket that dude's going to next, and it could kind of mess him up, but at the end of the day, I like all 3 days. I like it.
Good answer. How do you feel about fishing all 3 days full field?
I like it. I totally agree with what you're saying, 100%. And I think that's the only, I mean, you can't even call it a downfall, but that would be the only,
Yep.
nitpicky
You got to put
thing.
yourself in that situation before you worry about that issue.
But it makes it fun, and it's just like everybody following each other around here. I mean, it might piss a lot of people off, but at the same time, that's what's fun.
Dude, and I like the all 3 day field
You know?
because with the National Professional Fish Championship Saturday after the weigh-in, they got in their truck and they drove 15 hours home because they had to be at work Monday. You know what I mean? So we have that within us in this organization. We got and then going to one more thing about that full field and everything, the payout, 36 spot, $9,000. Would you rather see it pay back 60 spots or down to $1,000 back, or do you like how that?
No,
What do you think about the payout?
No, I totally agree.
I love what the payout is.
Okay. So to get to that 36 spot, what's it going to take? To get a check, 36, how many pounds do you need?
12.
12.
Yeah,
Be right there at the
All right.
same. Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. Extra bonus coverage on the National Pro Fishing League. We schedule these for an hour, and we got a special guest, right?
Yeah.
Sheldon, Jake, thank you guys very much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck this
Yep,
week.
thank you.
We'll see you on the weigh-in stage.
Appreciate you, fellas,
We'll
man.
cycle
Awesome
you
talking
guys
to y'all.
out.
Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Two of my boys right there, boy.
All right, guys, we're getting situated here. So this is a little unscheduled.
What's up, man?
We're going triple time tonight. B. Fast and loose, fast and loose. That's the way we do things,
right,
right?
man.
So Garrett Dunn had some trouble, some issues getting here on time. We'll explain or not. And so B gets to do overtime. No bump.
Oh, we're good, man. That's
Right,
okay.
this is
I'm
not
used
in
to
your
it.
rider,
I'm used
right?
and abused around here.
Yeah, so real quick, though, they're actually shutting this place down on
Okay.
us. So you guys are going to be about 15, 18 minutes-ish, and then we're going to cut this thing out and roll. But this will not count. You'll get another one down the road just for what it's worth.
Yeah, we'll see how they do
Fair
on
enough.
this one, then we'll go from there.
So maybe,
I don't want to steal the show.
so on the left for us is at home, Garrett Dunn. I'm pretty sure you're the youngest angler in the NPFL.
Oh, heck. I'm the
There we
best
go.
and youngest looking.
Whoa.
Now, youngest, I don't know.
Yeah, not even close, dude. We got like a couple 16-year-olds, I think, somewhere fishing
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing. So, Randy, how old are you? So, you guys, first of all, texted you, I'm going to be there, man. Shake it loose. What happened? What?
I mean, that's what happens when you got to have at least 30 minutes extra practice time. I mean,
Right, I got you.
now, I did not realize I'm staying in Atlanta, Texas, and I thought that's right up the road from Texarkana. I put it in my GPS, and it said like 42 minutes. I was like, oh, well, that's not good.
Yep, so I'm running the stream on my phone. Like, if you texted me, then there's no way I got it. But
I got
yeah, next door.
nothing wrong
So
with that.
Let's do this again, man. Let's run the three.
Randy
Like
Kukul, Garrett Dunn.
Let's get her done.
You getting that overtime?
Let's
pay
get her
now.
done.
Dude, I'm
Hey, close
getting that
where we're at.
paper.
super close combat. Like this lake is different. We're gonna do this different. Do your thing, baby.
Yeah, I want you to give a little bit of background on yourself, how you started fishing, where you're from, and just give them a quick bio on yourself, Garrett.
I got you. So my hometown would be Union City, Tennessee. Home lake is Reelfoot Lake. So if you've ever heard of it, then you don't bass fish, you only crappie fish. But I grew up there, so I was like, nah, I like bass fishing. I don't want to do this. And my neighbor that grew up could have been the elites. I didn't know. I thought that I had to know how he did, what was going on, everything. And one day, he said, do you want to go fishing on Kentucky Lake? And
How old were you?
I was 12 years old. He gave me a 7-foot medium heavy and one crankbait. We pulled out in front of Moore's like 40 feet, and I caught 20 bass, and that was it. This is it. This is what I want to do forever. That's it.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Randy, how about you, man? Give us a quick bio on
Man,
yourself.
It all
All
started.
right, that's good, man. Back to Garrett. Okay.
No, it all started, just fishing off a dock, and my grandparents. Just south of Cleveland, Aurora. Grew up on basically fishing that lake, and I actually was fortunate enough to have one of my parents' friends named Joe Engler, and he kind of, I always looked up to him. He fished off like a tin rig, and he fished all the Electric Elite Series stuff around us, and he ended up taking me out a few times and like really just got me hooked. Between him and my dad, just like taking me perch fishing, that's where it all started. But really, what got me into fishing a lot more is I raced motocross, and racing motocross broke my neck back in '04. I broke my neck. I was 15 years old, and had a halo on all summer long, and literally bass fished every day. All
With a
summer
halo
long.
on?
With a halo.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
So,
Do you have pictures of you holding?
my dad would just take me, like, literally after work. I had like a 14-foot john boat. While I had a halo on, we put a floor on it, put carpet on it, and it evolved into, literally my first bass boat, my fiberglass boat, and then just kind of went on from there. So
Right on, man.
But,
Cool. So,
yeah.
and where'd you go to fish? What have you fished before you come here?
So I fished. I bounced around fishing some of the BFLs and the coastas. Fished some of the northern stuff. Nothing too crazy.
Wright Patman, how you feel about it? What's practice going on?
I didn't get to come down for pre-practice, just so busy with everything going on. But it is, actually, my first day I was like, this. I want to say it was probably one of the best days of fishing I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Ho. That's big, dude.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that, but it literally was like, it was a very good first day.
Was it because of where you were fishing? How are you? Why was it so?
Literally started at the right spot.
And what day was this?
Yesterday.
How'd today go?
Very slow because I tried not to expand on that and look for something different to try to.
Okay.
I was looking for more of a number spot offshore, and it didn't pan out, so I just started kind of going back to that and expanding on that. I don't know.
You don't know? I can't believe you're a loss for words. That's crazy. Garrett, while he's thinking of something to talk about, hey, what kind of experience do you have on Wright Patman?
Yesterday was my first time to ever see it.
How you feel about it, brother?
I'll be honest, when I put it in Google's Maps, because I Google map every lake in the world, and it popped up, it said, why? So,
sounds about right.
I clicked out, and I was like, I looked at every dock on Wright Patman today.
Yeah.
Just today.
Where did you
Fished every
find
rock.
docks?
I found two. That they built out of like some plywood,
driftwood?
yeah, some old 55-gallon drums. I fished them today, and then, honestly, I was like, well, why are we coming here? And I got here, and I was like, oh man, this. I don't know about everybody else, but first bite of practice, I'm putting in the boat because
You the same way,
you
Randy?
just got to do it.
First bite, I definitely did set the hook.
Yeah, I mean,
and after that, I
can't
tried
not.
shaking them off, and they wouldn't let go.
Yeah.
Same thing with you?
They would not let go.
Dude, that first one, I was like, why are we here? It went to running. I set the hook and put it in the boat, and I said, that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Gooden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them.
One them. He said one them. It's one them.
One of them eaters, so you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it going to be one shallow?
I think so.
That sounds like us. What, you feel the same way, Randy? What do you think?
Unless you find some secret little deal, I think it's going to be definitely a shallow deal.
I kind of did like Randy. Day one, I went shallow, and it was Big Mama's eating. And then today, I tried. Running the like creek ledge kind of deal.
Yep.
And I just didn't have. It was slow. I just didn't have a lot of success. So.
Well, so being this is both of y'all's
I
first
think
time
the wind wasn't blowing this morning.
Yeah, that hurt a lot.
It picked up.
And it was dead, and I was like, all right, maybe tomorrow.
I think you're going to have all the wind you want tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think the way it sounds, she coming in hot tomorrow.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, that might play an effect. It was just like dead water out there, and I was like, this isn't.
What was your first impression of Wright Patman when you launched the boat? You get out there.
I had a little backdrop because Jake's been here for a little while, and we talk all the time. So, I had an idea kind of what was going on. But my first take on it was, all right, trim her up, put the jack plate up and just, puck her up a little bit and send it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I just went to the first cove that I looked on Google. I tried to shake them all off, but I ended up hooking 4 yesterday, and those 4 went for 16.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So how many bites though? You said, hey, I tried to shake them all off.
I think I had about 12 bites yesterday.
Okay.
12 bites.
How about you?
I covered up my hooks.
Well, you talk to me.
I mean, I do the best I can with that shake. I kind of, like the 5-second rule when you drop it on the floor and you still want to eat it. I give them the 3-second rule. If you're still going to run it with 3 seconds, I'm gonna go on and see what you got. I mean.
How about you, Randy?
I cut my hooks off today, and me and Jake covered up a bunch of our. We had a little like heat shrink.
Yeah.
Throw it on there, and that kind of helped. I had one I ended up catching.
For either one of you, is frog or top water in general going to play?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I hope it gets there, but I haven't found it in practice yet.
What is it going to take to get there? Is it going to be we just need warmer nights to warm that water up? What's it going to take for the top water bite to get there?
I don't know, man. I hope this cold snap actually does something good for us. Everyone's like, oh, the cold snap. I'm like, I think it's going to be. I'm hoping it's a good thing.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
I don't. I think it's going to position them where they're probably going to be easier to catch. Actually, they're going to pull tight, and I think we're going to.
Water's dropping.
Right on them. Yeah.
It's putting them right where we need them.
How do you feel about fishing behind a bunch of people? Because it's going to fish small. Are you comfortable with that?
I mean, yeah, it's part of it. Ain't no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to get spun out when somebody pulls in behind you and rips that 8-pounder where you just flipped.
Man, I'm from Kentucky Lake, son. I throw a cast, and they, I'm sorry. Our lures hung together. I'll come to your boat to.
It's like that.
That's how they roll.
Gee.
No.
Up in Ohio, so
right.
I'm used to it. It is what it is. Part of it.
How do you handle it? Like that, you just say if you're fishing that, like we were talking about earlier, you're fishing that shoreline and you're approaching your juice, and somebody comes in and gets in that juice. How do you handle something like that?
I always try to keep my head together, but if I'm coming down a bank and some dude just now, I might say, hey man, like,
right. Be as professional. Just saying that.
I'm that petty.
I don't know.
mean,
We'll
I see the
see.
same boat.
I'm that-
I don't know. I was just, I don't know.
Depends on how it's done. Right?
My
I understand what you're
etiquette,
saying.
when it comes to etiquette,
Right.
and if I ever do something wrong to anybody that's watching this, you better check me up because my etiquette is I try to, there's no BS about
Do
it.
on to others as you
Exactly.
done
Just
on
the way
you.
I was raised,
Right
you know
on.
what I mean?
The golden rule.
100%.
What's it going to take to win this thing?
It really is hard to say, man. I mean, you could crack them 2 days and have 2 25-pound bags, and then you could have a 10-pound bag. You might have an 8-pound bag. You just don't get the bites. I mean, I don't know. It could take 6. For
I got
sure. Not even a
62.4,
question.
You said
20 every day, 62.4,
Okay.
at least 20 every day.
Oh, so you're one of the guys that's over 60. I like your style.
Yep, I'm gonna say you got a 20 sack 2 days, and then 1 day you probably slip under that 20 mark.
Okay.
But big bag 27 and a half.
Oh, okay. All right. And
I
what's
mean, I seen what lives here. It's there.
Oh yeah,
it's there.
yeah, and that's what we're hearing. And how about to make that that $9,000 check line, that 36 spot? What's it going to take to make that cut?
I haven't even gotten that far, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. I haven't gotten that far. I couldn't tell you.
That's not what you're focused on.
When I started today, I was like, we're going for it.
So
with my day yesterday, I mean, I met you at the ramp this morning, and I was like, dude.
He had the. I'm like, dude, it's early. The eyes were popping. He's like, hey, come. Dude, so here's a different way to phrase that question, right? If you catch X, if you catch any less than X, you'll be disappointed based on what you've seen so far in practice. If you catch, you fill in the blank. If you catch X, I'll be disappointed. Any less than this, and I'm gonna be like, man, I left some out there.
If I catch less than 15 pounds a day, I'll be disappointed. Okay. You know what I mean? I mean, today was a little harder. My afternoon was better. My morning was horrible.
Did you have 15 today?
Yeah, I mean, I shook them all. I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't see all of them, but
right.
I don't know. Probably.
Same question. If Garrett Dunn weighs in X on day one, any less than this, you're like, man, that I should have done better than that.
Over a 3-day average, I'd like to have 12 and a half every day. I think will be the cut line for 36. I'd like to have 15 a day.
So
kind of like him.
So,
I feel like
so
I'm in this
11,
15
9,
range.
you're like, man, I left some out there. 13, you're like, that's about what I thought.
Yeah, that's probably
Okay.
right. Yeah,
At NPFL, is your goal to make the championship? AOI is your goal to get cash? Give me some goals for Garrett Dunn at the NPFL.
AOY Rookie of the Year. Win it.
If you
Are you
want
gonna help
to,
me?
if you want to do some
with it?
pull-ups before you
Yeah.
pick it up, you can climb on that.
I want it over my head now, so I want you behind me.
I got you.
And then
I'll put you on my
we got the
shoulders
setup.
and I'll hold it up.
But,
Right on. What's it going to
we're-
take to make the championship, you think? As far as, what do you need? Because something I've seen.
Aside from consistency,
yeah,
I mean,
well, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
10 pounds a day, guys. If I can catch 10 pounds a day.
I had this conversation with a buddy of mine at the beginning. I think if
estimate what it actually takes. The
There's
last
some
3
sticks
years
here,
in a
man.
row. The last 3 years in a row, if you wanted to be on the Elite Series, 12 a day would
that's
get you
right.
there.
That's the same conversation I had.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So,
if you want,
That's valuable information. That's
that's right. 12 a day would put you on the Elite Series the last 3.
Are you a 12-pound-a-day mindset guy, or are you a swing for the fences guy? I think we have different
I am.
types.
Right.
I'm pretty. I don't know. I mean, if I'm feeling it, I'm going for it. But if I'm, I'm always going to be.
I mean, I'm not a rich man by no means. I ain't close, but I make sure all my bills are paid before I show up, and I'm going for that 50K.
Yeah,
Bottom line.
I like your style.
I want the
right on.
I want the big dogs. That's it.
What are you doing out there in your practice right now? You're shallow. Are you dragging? Are you chunking and winding? Are you throwing way up under the bushes? I know you can't give away
I'm
your
skipping.
juice.
I mean,
Okay.
a lot of skipping jigs and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and covering. Just
That's no
covering
secret.
A lot of
I mean,
water.
we're all skipping and
Yeah.
flipping and.
We're we're fishing brush piles on Wright Patman Lake. I'm not giving anything up.
No, everyone's pretty much doing the same thing. I think someone's going to find some little magic little.
Yeah, and maybe somebody will have a creek that's like a creek ledge.
That
or
pole
something.
timber deal they were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Did you mess with that at all?
actually looked at that. That was part.
No.
That wasn't for me.
Did you mess around with any of the standing timber or anything like that?
I ain't been in the standing timber so much. I've been running the creek, like the deeper creek channels. And
Have you been up under the bridge and the river and all that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's that like?
That's where I started today.
A little
And
sketchy?
It's different. It's a little sketchy running for sure. Yeah, you better know where you're at. If you ain't in that channel, it gets shallow quick.
Where's the tournament going to be won? Is it going to be one up there in that river? Is it
No,
going to be
I
one
think you're
down
gonna
near
be
the
closer to the dam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
How
think
you
it'll
feel?
be somewhere in this vicinity. I don't think. I mean, you might be able to magically, find one of those ponds, the magic ponds up there. But no, I don't know. My time with it.
My
We got
worry
three.
would
We got
be-
3 days. You could spend weeks here
Oh, yeah.
to cover this lake.
Really? Weeks? We got guys talking about they figured it all out in 2 days.
Well,
My only
maybe they
problem is it's
did.
gonna
I
get
mean,
even
I
smaller.
landed on them yesterday, but today was another story. I don't know. I think that you could spend a lot of time here.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you could go down the riverside.
They're running us out of here.
Yeah, they're like,
They're
hey,
running us
boys,
out of here.
I
shake
still
and
got to
bake.
order my food.
Listen,
for
guys,
that.
thank
I
you
got
for
some gummy
thank you
bears in
for
my pocket
rolling
if you
in,
want.
dude. Sorry, it was all
no
this stuff. Thank you guys at home for hanging in there with us.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys.
B, we'll buy you an extra breakfast B.O.B. from
There we go.
Whataburger in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
right?
that works. That works.
We want to thank you guys for watching the National Pro Fishing
And
League.
remember where to watch us.
Yeah, from Naaman's Barbecue, presented by Progressive Insurance. This up here real quick. Right, these are everywhere. There's knives in here carved with George Washington's trees he planted. Like it's freaking crazy. You got to read that. I'm like,
Cool.
if that's
I'm not-
legit, like
it
we
doesn't
shouldn't
have
be.
the pictures I can't
If that's
read.
legit, we should not be sitting that close
I'll
to
send you a
that. Right?
picture.
Thanks. Hey, real quick though, YouTube,
Yeah.
TNPFL.com. It's something new for us, guys. When we start live streaming Thursday morning, we're gonna be live streaming on.
Who's doing the stream? Like, there's two jokers.
Dang, who is it?
Some guy I never even heard of him.
Luke Duncan, David Dully. Very opinionated, very verbose, dapper fellas. But yeah, man, we're gonna be running 21 hours live coverage. TNPFL.com.
Eat it. We're out.